coming soon.
Pretty soon. All right, I think we're live, Phil.
Are we live now?
We are.
All right.
Why don't you introduce us?
Hello, and welcome to the Baldur's Gate Siege of Dragonspear stream. I am Phillip Daigle, and this is Amber Scott. I am
AKA the Beam
designer,
Bard.
And she's the Beam Bard, also a writer, and also our marketing coordinator. She wears many hats, including this one. Today we're going to be playing a little bit of Baldur's Gate Siege of Dragonspear. We're going to show you two cool new areas in sort of a dungeony section that we've got in the game. But before we do that, we're going to start the prize giveaways by giving away one Siege of Dragonspear t-shirt, as you can see here. Ta-da!
We only have black ones because Phil stole the only red one that we had printed.
Yeah, so get your envy engines ready to go because this is the only maroon Dragonspear shirt currently in existence, and it's going to stay that way because this is paying for my retirement. So, in order to do this contest, we are going to do a random draw in the chat room here. So if you are in the chat room, you are automatically in the drawing, and here we go.
Bum, bum, bum.
Prize. I don't know what that did, but Alex told me to type that, and apparently when I do it, it makes things happen. So the winner is... We don't know yet. All right, we'll figure it out later. Wait, no, we got it. We got it. The winner is Darkest Onion. Darkest Onion, you have won yourself a t-shirt.
That is also a fantastic name. I like it.
The Darkest Onion.
Darkest Onion.
From the Darkest Timeline.
That feels like a monster that we should add. So in tabletop writing, which is where I came from, we've got this expression, which is deadline monster. And a deadline monster is when your monster manual or your article is completely done, but you just need one last creature to fill it out. And it's like 4 a.m. and you're probably drunk. And you're like, how about a bear crossed with a scorpion?
Or how about a bear crossed with an owl?
Or an onion that is very dark.
What about a cube? Just a cube. No, that's not special enough. Let's make it out of Jell-O.
Exactly.
Anyways.
So I like Darkest Onions. Huh? Congratulations on winning your t-shirt. Just send us a message on Twitch, or you can email me, amber@beamdog.com, and we'll get your shipping address and get that t-shirt out to you. So now we're going to go over to the demo.
And as well as we're doing the demo, we're going to be giving away a few more prizes. So if you missed out on
your questions.
Yeah, if you missed out, don't quit immediately in a rage.
Today we're going to be going through an area called the Dig. This is one of the bonus dungeons we added on the last stream. We mentioned that after some playthroughs over the holidays, we decided the game was a little too linear, didn't have enough sort of areas to explore in the classic Baldur's Gate style. So this is one of the dungeon areas we added. And it starts out as this sort of dwarven excavation in the earth. I've got my party here. My main character is Jade, a bard. No surprise there. And you can see she's got this cool hat that we made that's got extra charisma for me, being a bard. And we did do a lot of course, custom items in this game. We added a lot of new material.
Dragonspear has scads and scads and scads of new items. And as we mentioned in the previous stream, when you import your game into Baldur's Gate 2, more items will be brought over than the original going from Baldur's Gate 1 to Baldur's Gate 2. So that's one of the additional features of Dragonspear.
Hey, Phil. So I'm trying to decide. Right now my bard has got a sword and a shield. Do you think I should keep using the sword and shield, or should I use a bow?
Well, if
Sword
you'll direct your eyes to the right-hand side, you can see the stat comparison. Now, a sword versus a bow is kind of a different question because one is ranged and one is not. But since she's a bard and because she's a skald, I'd say go with the sword.
All right. Well, the nice thing about that is when I'm in the game, I can just go to my little quick bar here, and I can have my sword and shield, or I can have my bow.
Say, is that a new feature?
Why, yes, it is, Phil. Previously, if you had a two-handed weapon equipped, you can switch automatically to a sword and or a main weapon and an offhand, but now you can.
So this is something that people have wanted for 20 years. And
it's true.
In our defense, this was actually kind of a big pain to add, but the pain is gone now and it's in the game. So I'm sure a lot of people are going to be very happy about that.
Oh, there's some dwarves under attack
Stumbled
here.
upon a battle, I see.
Dwarves faced off with some zombies and things. Fear not, friend. The hero of Baldur's Gate is here to help you. Oh,
Hey, it's
Savannah.
Savannah.
You know, one of my favorite things about the work we've done on Siege of Dragonspear is that we gave Savannah like a real personality and, you know, some depth of character and backstory beyond what she had in Baldur's Gate 1 and some terrific voice acting from Stephanie Wolf.
You know, a lot of the BG1 companions, they were really cool. They had memorable voices and interesting lines, but they were, in a lot of cases, not particularly deep. And so when we brought these characters forward, you know, people's tastes have kind of changed over the years, and so they want more depth from their companions, and that was a big focus for us. It's more than Savannah. There's other NPCs we brought back that we've added more depth to from what they had in BG1. And I think people are really going to appreciate the new character that they have.
Just pointing out that I'm saying here I met another of your number, a Darren Highhammer, outside the cavern. That's the NPC that was named in a contest when we did, I think it was our Extra Life.
Yeah, ages and ages ago, a guy on Twitch, I think his username is Elminster, won the contest for getting to name a character, or rather design an entire character in Siege of Dragonspear. And so before you enter this dungeon, you'll run into Darren Highhammer. He's sort of hanging out near the entrance to fill you in on what's happening. But he's a pretty cool guy, and I believe that we voiced him as well.
We did. I don't remember who it was, but we did voice him.
You'll forgive me if I don't remember every single piece of this game, as I've been working on it for 4 years now, and I'm slowly going insane.
There's a lot, and especially, I mean, the voice acting. We had somewhere in the range of 500,000 lines, and we voiced around 8,000 of them, and it took us a long time.
Mm-hmm. There is an absurd amount of text in this game, which is fitting for an Infinity Engine game, because that's what they're all about, is a lot of really great content that you get to read and hear and see to a lesser extent.
This leads into a question that we got on the boards, which was the possibility of having all of our portraits and player sound sets all combined into one big package. So it doesn't matter if you're playing Baldur's Gate 1 or 2 or Icewind Dale, you have access to all the same things. That's a great idea. It's something I'd be really interested in doing. There are some weird licensing issues that we have to worry about. A lot of times if we bought some portrait packs or we created a sound set, it was for a specific game and the licenses reflect that. So it would take a little finagling to get that happening, but it's a great idea. So,
Man, those guys are going down hard.
look at all these whites. You know what? I think I'm going to see if I can summon some spirits
Ooh, here
to
we
help
go.
us out.
Yeah, so what you're about to see is the new Shaman class.
Here's our little shaman dance.
And beyond it being a new class, McKinn, as you can see there, is sort of a unique companion in that she's a goblin. She's not a regular companion. She shares a little bit of heritage with Wilson from Baldur's Gate 2, I suppose. But she's the first sort of real monstrous party member that we've added to the Baldur's Gate series. So McKinn's deal is that she's a goblin shaman, and part of her ability set is that she can summon an almost unlimited number of ghostly allies. The problem, though, is that when allies are being summoned, she's rooted in place. So there's sort of a trade-off between, all right, am I going to be safe here, or do I need my shaman to be more active using their druid spells, et cetera, et cetera?
And your the chances that you have of summoning spirits and more powerful spirits goes up as you go up. So you can see on our interface here now, McKinn started dancing her shamanic dance, and a major animal spirit answered her call. It is a boar spirit, and it just charges right into battle. But if I start moving her, like I'll have her walk over here, her dance ends and the spirit goes away.
Yeah. And as well, McKinn's look will change throughout the course of the game based on the decisions that you make for her. So I'm not going to reveal too much, but there's a few key points where you can guide her into being a certain kind of character or another kind. And she has her own paper doll and everything, and the paper doll will change as she changes her look.
We're also going to have some new player AIs that are going to be implemented in Dragonspear. I don't have them in this particular demo build, so I can't show them off. But if you have any questions, Alex Tomovic, our design leader guru, is in the chat room.
So it's going to be a lot more flexible than the current Baldur's Gate AI scripts are. With the new system, you'll be able to individually turn off certain behaviors. So you could say, I want you to use potions, but I don't want you to go into melee range, that sort of thing. So it's much more modern, much more flexible, and it's easier to understand than trying to parse through a bunch of monolithic AI scripts. I'm sorry for getting a little technical here, but I'm just a giant nerd.
No, I think our fans really appreciate the technical details. I am not technical. I am more of a role player than a role player. So that's why Phil's here to answer all the tech questions for you.
Speaking of fun tech stuff, so we have a new digital magazine called The Familiar, which is made by our very own Amber Scott, a.k.a. the Beambard. And it's super, super cool. It's a digital magazine on Android and iOS, but you can also read it online in a browser. And what we're trying to do with The Familiar is make it more than just, hey, here's a bunch of news about Beamdog. It's going to be more crunchy sort of information. So here's an article on Shadowkeeper. Here's cool stuff that you can do to create custom characters. Here are some interesting mods that you can try out along with instructions for how to install them. So keep an eye out on it. It's going to be really, really great. And we want to really push into like useful information that isn't just a bunch of fluff.
Mm-hmm. You can find it on our website at thefamiliar.beamdog.com. Maybe you want to type that into the chat room.
I will.
And you can also find it on the App Store and the Google Play Store for iOS and Android. All right. I feel like my, player senses are tingling here. There's probably going to be some traps, so I'm just going to slow down a bit. I'm a bit of a slower player than Phil.
You tell him, Safana.
He really likes, killing everything.
Well, you'll note that in the last stream I died a lot too, so you got to see a lot of the same content over and over. We had a request for getting to know the release date, and unfortunately we can't announce that yet, but very soon a date is set internally. We're just figuring out when we can announce it.
Definitely keep an eye on our social media, the Beam blog, and Facebook and Twitter. And believe me, we want to be able to tell you details, so as soon as they're confirmed, they'll be going out on social media.
There's a burning urge in my chest to reveal a lot of things about Dragonspear, but I'm not allowed to, so every day my spirit becomes a little more crushed.
In that case, what do we got here? There's a little guy over here. Oh, it's a dwarf. He died.
Oh, look at that cute little skull.
People don't realize the dangers inherent in mining. Like, this is it's not a safe occupation.
You should actually pick up the skull and give it back to him.
To give it back to who?
He clearly misplaced it.
If I find an undead dwarf later on in here, I'll be like, excuse me, is this your skull?
Hey, Bonnie.
So speaking of companions, were we speaking of companions? We are now.
Speaking of companions, we were talking about McKin a little while ago.
So I've got Minsk here, who, of course, you may remember from such classics as Baldur's Gate 1 Enhanced Edition and Baldur's Gate 2 Enhanced Edition. And he's a companion. He's got all new lines from the amazing Jim Cummings. I've got McKin here that we talked about, our new shaman and our first goblin monster NPC. Corwin, who's an archer ranger. She's from the Flaming Fist. Safana from Baldur's Gate 1 as well. And Dinah Hare. And I just wanted to go back to Corwin for a minute because this is one of my favorite new items we created. It's called the Battle Tankard. There's a quest when you start out in the game where you get this as a reward, and it's a giant drinking tankard that has been turned upside down and has eye holes cut into it, so a medium-sized creature can use it as a helmet. And that's Mad B's beautiful interpretive art of the Battle Tankard helmet. So I just wanted to call that out.
Believe it or not, that Battle Tankard illustration is based on a photo of me.
Is it really?
No.
Okay. I didn't think so. We also had a question about companion quests. And in the last stream, I said that the new characters of Corwin, McKin, and Glint all have sort of individual quests. And the returning characters from the Enhanced Edition, Nira, Rasad, and Dorn, Nira has her own quest. Dorn and Rasad didn't get quests this time around.
Dorn has a tiny, minor quest that you can do, but it's not a full-fledged journey that he needs to go on.
Right.
Dorn is he's a pretty straightforward guy. He wants you to murder someone.
Oh, yeah, he does do that. And there was also a question if Baloth can be a joinable companion. And the answer is yes. Yes, he can.
You will encounter Baloth. I'll spoil a little bit for you. You run into Baloth and McKin at the same time, so there's a little bit of back and forth involving that, and I'll let you figure it out on your own.
And Baloth doesn't have a personal quest, but there are some fun interactions if he's in your party and you run into some drow that have specialized. We really tried to make specialized content for all the companions based on the situations that they encounter.
And as well, every companion has banter with every other companion. So Baloth and Viconia, they actually discuss things for a little while in the language of the drow, and the player's kind of left there wondering, what? However, if you go and you look up the translation, you can actually understand their conversation.
That was really fun. We ran that past Wizards of the Coast. We had to go back and forth a couple of times to get some comprehensible drow language. And I remember when Mark Meir recorded that dialogue.
I'm so sorry, Mark. I'm so sorry.
He nailed it like on the first take. And he was like, this is so much fun. I want to do a bunch more. And he probably did like 10 different takes. It sounded completely natural, like he'd been speaking drow all his life.
And poor Jennifer Hale having to do the other half of that.
No, it was Grey.
Right. Grey Delisle.
Yeah. It was Viconia. So,
wait,
yeah.
was it? I don't remember. LA was a blur for me.
If we're wrong, someone will tell us. Okay, so I've gone through the dwarf tunnels where they were mining, and they broke into this underground sort of dungeon. And that's where they lost the rest of their dwarven party. And we're going down to try and find their leader. His name was Gurn Coldhearth, and his body's got to be down here somewhere. I'm going to try and find it and return it to the dwarves up at the entrance.
And again, this dungeon is completely 100% optional. You find it just through exploration and discovery in the game world, which I love. Like, that's my favorite part of Baldur's Gate 1, is just traipsing through the wilderness and, oh, look, there's a hole, and you go in the hole, and you're sent on an epic journey into some scary dungeon. So that was what we were trying to go after with this particular instance. You just find it, you stumble upon the adventure, and you have a lot of fun.
Use my quick loot here to see if there's anything I want. I don't think so.
All those arrows.
But I am going to look in these nearby bookcases. What do you suppose I'll find?
I would expect trinkets, knickknacks of some sort. Oh, books. All right, never mind.
How about some new books? New books that were written just for Siege of
Dragonspear. Ooh, new books. Yeah,
Volume
Dragonspear.
MCX 11 of the History of the Netherese Empire. What is that, like 1,000 and...
There's a lot, all right? We're not going to hold it against you if you don't remember your numerals.
Isn't it weird that the Forgotten Realms uses Roman numerals?
No, because the Roman Empire is actually part of the Forgotten Realms.
Oh.
I made that up, but it's true.
I found a book called A Philosophical Treatise on the Nature of Lichdom and Mortal to Lich Notes.
Ooh. That's probably unrelated to the dungeon that you're in.
That's probably not foreshadowing at all. Inside a leather folder embossed with the word lich. That sort of reminds me of the old, what was it, from Sideshow Bob? He had his fraud logs in The Simpsons.
Oh, right.
And they're all labeled.
And I have the records to prove it! And some of them are on disc.
These are the lich notes.
Yep.
Talks about phylacteries and other classic...
I mean, if you're not trying to hide it from anybody, accurately labeling your stuff is kind of important.
Well, clearly, I mean, whoever this person is built this giant underground complex full of, like, traps and skeletons and things. So he wasn't really expecting anyone to just kind of wander in here and, start reading his notes. Sorry, mysterious lich person. Oh, no, I sprang a trap.
Oh,
I wasn't paying
Louise.
attention. Sorry.
You're going to get horde
wilted.
wilted.
There's another trap.
No, I don't think that is horde wilting.
I think it's...
So we might have a little bit of a guest star wander behind the camera here.
Who could it be?
Who could it be? One of our recent hires. Wave to the camera. Hello, David Gator. How's it going? See, we have video proof that he is actually working for us, and we did not hold him against his will.
You need to bend down a little bit, I think, so people can see your smiling face. There we go.
See, it is him. It wasn't a guy that we were just holding above the camera to trick
It's really too bad that Dragonspear is pretty much complete by the time you got here, because I bet you could have added a lot of cool stuff, but... I'm sure we'll have other fun projects for you to work on in time.
Tantalize people.
Thanks for dropping by.
Our future projects.
Okay, so I opened a secret door, and it's full of bone bats, which what are those anyway, and ghasts. So clearly this was an evil trap that somebody laid for innocent me. I thought I was being smart. Thought, oh, here's a secret door. I'm just going to walk in. Totally.
Well, usually when there's a cloud of toxic gas, the right approach is to rush through it onto the other side and blindly enter whatever you find.
Wasn't this a... Alveus Malcanter video?
I think it was.
All right, bye, David. Oh, Dynahair's paralyzed. I wonder... No, I don't think I have an anti-paralysis thing.
So, to answer your earlier question, bone bats are bats that are made of bones.
Thanks. Thanks for clearing that up. I don't think I have an anti-paralysis spell. If it was mental control, I could do something with McKinn, because we've got these new spells for shamans that mostly Alex T and I Alex T designed them, And then that's Alex in the chat room for you guys who are watching on Twitch. And
Alex is our project manager extraordinaire. He's keeping us on track and making sure that we release this damn game instead of working on it forever. So you have him to thank for actually us getting a
Thanks,
release
Alex.
date.
But yeah, he scoured the old, because the shaman actually comes from quite an old tradition in D&D. Like, it was around in, I think, first edition D&D as a specialty class.
Yeah, there were homebrew versions of the there were multiple versions of the shaman in the early days of Dragon, back when they were still in Lake Geneva or whatever. And so we kind of took a lot of inspiration from those original shamans. But then also some of the stuff we wanted to do was taken from more modern games. Some of her functionality was actually inspired by a unit in StarCraft 2. And so we're looking at a lot of different sources for gameplay inspiration when we design companions.
So we pulled out some of these spells from the original D&D Shaman, from other sources as well. Alex looked at how they would interact with the game interface, and then I helped with the text. So we've got these cool new spells like Spirit Ward, which helps you get rid of mental control and things like that.
So the Shaman spell set...
Actually, I think that's Spiritual Clarity.
There's a lot of custom spells that are specific to the Shaman, but they also share a lot of spells with Druids. And so probably one of the better ways to describe the Shaman would be like a Druid crossed with a Sorcerer in a way.
When you look at oh, I found a silver rod. That could be important.
Hey, did you explore that weird pool that you found in the second room?
No, I didn't.
You should check that out.
Maybe I did.
Yes?
What is it?
Maybe I forgot. Hey, look who's here. It's Trent Hostar.
It's our muscle-bound boss.
Hey, if the shoe fits. So I was just about to say, so when you look at McKinn's spells here, it looks like she has a million spells memorized, but it just works the same as the sorcerer. As she casts spells, she has fewer available for her. And you can go in her little spell book to look at some of these new guys, like Spiritual Clarity, which basically removes like charm and mental domination effects.
Cam and I could have used that last night. We were getting murdered a lot.
Oh.
Yeah. So sometimes, well, more frequently lately, Cam and Trent will play multiplayer games of Dragonspear, and we'll periodically hear screaming and shouting coming from their office, and then there's a loud, and then silence.
And then we get something that Trent calls the hate list, where he brings us a piece of paper and he's like, I hate this, 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 this.
And, of course, gazebos.
Yeah, there's no gazebos in this game. Sorry.
There's actually a list behind Andrew Foley's desk of things that we are not allowed to do in the game. I've made several additions. Number one on the list was time travel, but...
I support that.
Yeah.
What are some of the other things? Airships? We're not allowed to do airships.
That's Trent's thing. I don't have a problem with airships.
I like
want to go
airships.
to Halrua.
We should do a poll. If you're in the Twitch chat right now, let us know if Trent should let us do airships or not.
And you're going to really have to twist his arm to get more gnomes in the game.
My arms are hard to twist.
This is very true. So this is like a very small modification, and it's something we've shown off before, but it's one of my favorites, so I'm just going to show it off again. When we have descriptive text that floats overhead of items and stuff, we put like a shaded black background on it so that it's easier to read. And it makes so much difference. Like when you look at how the text goes across the surface of the water, how much easier it is to read, and it doesn't blend into the white background. Like I said, it's a pretty tiny thing, but it makes me really happy.
Have you guys showed off the map screen yet?
Is the new map screen
It
in?
is brilliant.
This one?
No, that's the old one.
That's the old one. This is the last.
Yeah. So the build that we're using right now is not anywhere close to the nearly released version that we're working on. There's a whole bunch of additional stuff that we're sort of holding closer to our chest, and we'll reveal it after the release date comes out and everything.
Yeah, and we have a really tight like production schedule here, where the dev team is very careful about the kind of builds they release to us. So for a demo, our top priority is to have a stable build, so we're not going to have any weird crashes and stuff because we're experimenting with features. And
Whoa.
what is that?
Whoa!
Sword of Troll Decapitation +1.
I want 5 of those.
Are we...
Whoa, hold on here. When the wielder scores a critical hit, they gain a bonus to strength?
Okay, are we getting close to giveaway time? For the second
Perhaps.
giveaway?
What time is it? Let's see.
Because I'd love to do
All right.
something where, like, if you're in the chat room, this may be hard to do, and you know where I got the inspiration for the name Sword of Troll Decapitation, just shout it out, and We'll pick one of you for a T-shirt.
I'm gonna leave you guys.
I just totally made that up. So sorry to our producer who's like panicking right now and trying to figure
While
out how to award
you're
this
busy
prize.
thinking on that issue, there's some discussion in the chat about Spelljammer. And I'm glad that Trent just left, because if he were here, he would tell you how horrible Spelljammer is. But I'm going to tell you the truth. Spelljammer is the greatest role-playing setting that has ever been created or ever will be created, because in Spelljammer, you can have a wooden sailing ship going through space, and suddenly a hippo wearing plate armor and wielding a shotgun can show up and say, bow down. And I think that's great, you know? Tyrannical hippos.
I think you're wrong.
Trent always thinks we're wrong. That's not true. He's actually really supportive. Oh, I'm
Eventually, I'm going to go
getting
too
messages.
far, and Trent's just going to fire me, and I'm going to have to steal the Infinity Engine and make my own Spelljammer game.
I feel like these are some
So-
of the monsters from Icewind Dale that we're facing now.
I think
Imbued
they
whites.
are.
Yeah. Oh man.
We drew quite a bit of inspiration from Icewind Dale, obviously, because it was one of the Infinity Engine games. And I would say that a lot of this expansion has a very Icewind Dale feel to it, especially in the way that the monster spawns work. So Alex T was kind of the guy behind a lot of the balancing in the game, and he's a big fanatic for Icewind Dale because it was such a deep tactical challenge. And so we really wanted to recreate not just, you know, the exciting story and fun of Baldur's Gate, but also the real gritty, chunky mechanics of fun combat.
This is a really evil looking room. Did we have any replies to my question about the Sword of Troll Decapitation?
Oh, I guess we could look at that. Sword of Troll Decapitation. Nothing.
Huh.
Nobody knew, so we'll have to burn that shirt.
All right, well, just do a random draw then.
All right, we're going to do it. If you are in the chat room right now, you will be given a prize if you are lucky, and if you don't get the prize, you're obviously not lucky.
Incidentally, the Sword of Troll Decapitation was inspired by the Sword of Ogre Decapitation from the classic Creative Commons video The Gamers by Dead Gentleman Productions. Seriously, watch it. It's so funny. It is so funny. And they made 2 sequels to... Oh my god, look at all these monsters. Gamers 2, Darkness Rising, and Gamers 3, Hands of Fate, which is all about collectible card games.
Those all sound like things I want to watch.
They're free on YouTube. You should give them money so they'll make more videos. I think... are they the same people who do Journey Quest? I think they're running a Kickstarter right now, actually. And one of their Kickstarter rewards is you can get a Bard badge to show that you're an official
Bard badge. Does it
Yes.
go in your wallet and you're like, Bard PD?
It's like a metal badge, like
Show
a
me the
police
loots.
badge. Exactly. And you get, and it's for showing that you have bardic immunity because nobody's allowed to attack you because you're going to report on the great thing. That's from Journey
We're
Quest.
still waiting on the prize winner here. Our indomitable Alex Molzan is running the chat, and
We don't really know what we're doing actually.
we don't know what we're doing.
Sickly colored smoke writhes and capers behind the strange container's dust-covered glass. Creepy. Oh, we got more. Oh, shoot.
All right.
I remember these from the Severed Hand.
The
in-
winner of the next
Uh-oh.
Baldur's Gate Siege of Dragonspear t-shirt is Hobo Joe 0858. I hope this keeps you warm on the streets, Hobo Joe.
I also hope that.
And I'll make sure that it was this specific shirt that I rubbed all over my beautiful
You're gonna get
scrappy beard.
You're gonna get makeup all over it, Phil.
What are you talking about? I'm not wearing makeup.
His head was a little shiny.
You can never guess why. I've got George Costanza-itis.
Okay, it's all right. I was panicking when I saw this bone-bladed skeleton guy because I remember this from the Severed Hand in Icewind Dale. But I think we're doing okay. I think we're all right.
I would be pretty friggin' terrified if I saw that in real life, so I'm not really going to judge you on that one. Oh, there's a nice little smoke effect in the background. And you got a
Yeah,
neat
I'm
little
gonna show
chair.
that off.
That's the gaming chair.
So this was Zach who made the fog, right?
I think so.
One of our guys, Zach, made this amazing
Zach
fog
Levinsky,
effect.
one
Yeah.
of our star new programmers.
It's one of my favorite additions to Siege of Dragonspear, and we have been using it because we can color the fog and we can set its speed. So here we've got like a slow fog in this contained area that we shaded to blue to make this, creepy underground dungeon look even creepier. And how well does it work? It works so good.
So there's multiple kinds of fog effects as well. There's one that will occupy the entire level, and then there's fog that can emit from a certain location. So for example, if there was a large explosion that changed the layout of an area, you could have smoke sort of pouring over the area and giving it a very cool feel.
I found a concealed wooden lever in the chair's left arm. Should I pull it?
Do it. Okay. Nothing bad can ever happen. Oh.
Ooh, moving metal echoes through the complex. Hey, there was a door earlier that I couldn't open, although I don't think I clicked on it. So
You should look around. Oh, yeah, check it out,
what's
robes.
that?
So in this quest, the dwarves that send you into the laboratory that they accidentally uncovered, they're worshippers of the dwarven god Dumathoin. And so Dumathoin is the dwarven god of mining and that sort of thing. And so they had come to this area in search of a holy ore. And their leader, Coldhearth, went in after they had broken through to the undead area, and then he went missing. And the robes that she just found are possibly his.
It makes sense because it says they're of dwarven design and made with material of the highest quality and care. Traditional for dwarven noble wear.
And the color scheme is somewhat related to Dumathoin.
I have to say, one of my favorite parts about having worked on Dragonspear is the ability to influence the Forgotten Realms. Like, we said, this is traditional dwarven noble wear, and Wizards said sure, and so now it is. Now everyone knows this is what traditional dwarven wear looks like. Nobody can say we don't know.
Later on, you'll get to see dwarven bathrobes, dwarven shower caps, dwarven
Loofahs.
sandals with socks.
Oh, no! Just setting traps all over the place. You know why? It's because I turned my AI off.
After
There we go.
Dragonspear comes out, I think we should write a Game of Sutra article about making an expansion pack for a game that's almost 20 years old.
I agree.
Because we've run into some real interesting issues that we had to solve, both on the game development side and also the story creation side. In a way, we had to be almost historians of second edition Dungeons and Dragons. We had to go back to these source books from the early 90s, figure out what we wanted to do that would fit with that era of Dungeons and Dragons, but also wouldn't conflict with new lore that had come out for 3rd, 4th, and 5th edition. So for example, if there was a really cool dude that we wanted to use in 2nd edition, but 2 editions later he shows up as the leader of Calimport or something, that would be a little tricky for us. So we had to do a lot of discussions and a lot of back and forth with Wizards of the Coast to identify key bits of 2nd edition lore that we could use and change in some cases without breaking the future of the realms. So we're kind of like historians / time travelers / game developers. At least that's what I put on my business cards. Oh, somebody did get it. Somebody did actually get the Sword of Ogre Decapitation.
Nice.
And I believe it was Gamers 1.
We'll give them a
Wait, no, that's wrong. The person who did it was Bjorn Van de Sand.
All right, let's send them a t-shirt, too.
Okay, so you also get a t-shirt. Probably not this one because I've promised it to 2 other people already. But we will get you something.
Sweet. What are these remains? Brittle bones held together by tattered remnants of cloth. That's sad. Sad that all these people died here. Look at these big scorch marks on the ground.
Something horrible happened here.
More remains. Broken swords. Broken armor.
Hey, remember the Iron Crisis?
I do remember the Iron Crisis.
So up until a few weeks ago, we had this funny bug where the Iron Crisis weapons breaking because of the Iron Crisis would still happen in Siege. So you'd be fighting against these dudes that are, they're from someplace in the far north, and their weapons are just shattering and breaking, and you're like, this is pretty easy. So we had to fix that.
Yeah.
We could argue that the Iron Crisis, maybe that ore got tainted and spread further, but we're not going to do that. We're not that mean. So in Dragonspear, the Iron Crisis is over.
Yeah.
Partially because you solved it, so that
way.
would be kind of anticlimactic if it weren't.
Spoiler alert.
Yeah, by the way.
Ooh, I found another secret door. Or maybe that was just a regular door, I'm not sure. Yeah, there was a lot of design decisions that seemed simple when we went into it and then turned out to be really, really complicated. Mm-hmm. And one that springs to mind that people have been asking about is your party composition at the beginning of Siege of Dragonspear. I cannot tell you how many times we revised
Yeah.
your party composition at the beginning of Siege of Dragonspear. First, it was going to be you just had this party and deal with it. And then we were like, well, that's not really fair if you
Yeah.
spent a long time building your party
It's
up.
not satisfying, right?
So then it was a default party or your import party. But then it was like, well, what if you're an evil character and suddenly you show up with like Minsk and Dynahair and Jahira and Khalid? Like, you wouldn't have done that. So then we decided to have, I think what we wound up with, because this, like I said, this changed a lot, was there's a preset party based on your alignment, good, neutral, or evil, or your import party if you're continuing from Baldur's Gate Enhanced Edition.
And I'm going to reveal this feature because no one's telling me not to. In the character generation in Dragonspear, and this will eventually go back to BG1 and 2, you can create a custom party, like an entire 6-person custom party right there. So you don't have to create a multiplayer game, create the party that you want, leave the game, copy the save over to another folder. It's now just built in. So if you want to go all custom, you can. And we're super excited about that.
Although it is worth pointing out that not all of the companions from Baldur's Gate 1 Enhanced Edition will be available in Siege of Dragonspear. And that was just something that was necessary based on the amount of time we had and the amount of scripting that it would take.
Yeah.
Like, having the amount of NPCs that we do have took so much time that I can't even imagine adding another, 10 or whatever companions to the game. So although you'll be able to start with your party from BG1, they won't necessarily be able to continue with you through the whole game.
Yeah.
And that's explained in game, like as part of the story.
Yeah, you will be able to bring in Tiax, Shartil, everybody. You can bring in your whole BG1 party. At the beginning of Siege, you will get to use them, but as time progresses, things will change based on the people that we were able to keep.
And some of that had to do too with voice actors, with the assets that we had for older characters.
We got
and
a
so forth.
lot of the classic voice actors back.
We sure did.
We couldn't get everybody because some of them have actually left the industry altogether, and no amount of harassing or cajoling could.
Or we
get
couldn't
to
even
come
find
back.
them.
Yeah, in a couple
some we
instances,
couldn't even
they're
find.
just off the grid. Maybe they're living in New Mexico somewhere. I don't
That was Jahira's voice actress. What's her name?
know. Heidi
Heidi.
Shannon. So if you're out there, Heidi,
We tried to find you.
Give
We
us
tried
a
really
ring.
hard. Yeah, we'd love to work with
we
you
sent
again.
commando teams out into the desert. We swept the ocean. It was expensive. We probably shouldn't have spent all that money.
Probably not. That hot air balloon, in retrospect, that was a mistake. Hey, I found another trap.
Whatever you like.
Pretty good at this.
And as well, for the brief period, for the NPCs that we didn't bring to the rest of the expansion, for the brief period that you do have them, they will have some custom dialogue and banter and whatnot.
Yeah, we really wanted to make it as immersive as we could. So instead of everyone just vanishing at once, they have explanations for why they have to go. So at least you can, keep continuity in your head.
Right.
Yeah, there's a lot of issues that we had to solve, as Amber was saying. I mean, at the beginning of Baldur's Gate 2, you start with Jahira, Minsk, Imoen, Khalid was killed, Dynahair was killed, spoiler alert. And so we couldn't really change that. We didn't want to change Baldur's Gate 2 by, giving you a whole whack of different characters.
Well, we
you could
wanted
start
to,
with.
but
we wanted to, but
we couldn't.
Fate and reality intervened and would not allow us to. So in a way, it's like Baldur's Gate ends here, Baldur's Gate 2 starts here. We had to make a pipe that would work for that, while also going up to Dragonspear Castle, which is up here.
It was a really difficult sort of balancing act. It's hard sometimes to write when you know what the outcome is going to be, because you can definitely take some of the tension away from the story. But, the majority of our players are old school. They played Baldur's Gate 2 long ago, so they know what that story is going to be. It's not going to be a surprise at the end that certain things have to happen.
And for people who haven't ever played BG2 or BG1 even, when they go into Siege, it's still going to be an interesting, mystery for them, and it's going to tie nicely into Baldur's Gate 2 and feel like Baldur's Gate 2 is an obvious continuation of this.
Okay, I'm going to try and manipulate these mysterious pillars.
Do it.
I love riddles and traps. I tried to put a lot of riddles and traps in the game. Which, again, we had an interesting design argument, I guess. And maybe the people in the chat room can weigh in on their opinions on this. But because different people were writing different puzzles, we came across the question, if the character has a low intelligence, should they still get displayed the correct option for the riddle? So that the player, if the player figures it out, can pick the correct option. Or if you're playing a character with like a 7 intelligence, should you not even get the option to pick the right answer? Which is what I did. I had it that if you had a low intelligence, you just didn't even get an option to pick the right answer. But if people in your party had a certain intelligence, they could chime in and give the answer. But then people were saying, well, that's not really fair for the player. If the player is smart, they may not want to role play to that degree.
It's a balancing act between, is this a fun game and is this a fun role-playing experience? And they can be the same thing, but it's still a fine line that you need to walk to have that fun balance that makes you feel like you can do what you want to do as a player.
I make my thing go
Someone
up.
in the chat said, I love the effort you're putting into making the canon work. Thank you. Because I stayed up so many nights just tossing and turning, like, how is this going to work? And after many, many, many sleepless
that
nights,
was the
I
wrong
think we've got
answer.
something that works.
That was the wrong answer.
Well, you blew it.
Oh my gosh. I didn't write this puzzle. Andrew did. I don't know what the answer is. Oh no, Savannah. Stop. I like you now. Give me some spirits.
Did you find all of the scrying wrongs?
No, I didn't. I only found 2 so far. Oh, Savannah died.
I'm
sorry. Sorry, Savannah. And we even made her like way more useful than in Baldur's Gate 1. She has like pick locks and things now.
Yeah, for some of the returning companions, we updated their stats and stuff a little bit to make them more functional.
Your concern, indeed.
Okay, so that wasn't the right answer. So the pillars are... Where did it go? Like a dying leaf. Oh my god, turn off
Watch
the
your
AI
step.
for a sec. A dying
Nothing
leaf.
good comes out of
Someone
a place
claims
like
that we
this.
got David Warner to do some voice work. I don't know where they heard that.
I don't know. Cracked and fragmenting leaf. Ah, stop it. Stop singing your bard song.
Yes?
Usually I never say stop singing your bard song, but in this case I'm trying to see previous text. Phil, this is a bug. Reported. Fragmenting leaf, a real leaf, a
I think you
snowflake,
just got
and then
the
a
order
sun.
wrong. I mean,
So,
you
well,
can-
where
you
do I
can blame
start?
the
Like,
game.
these are obviously seasons. If you don't want to be spoiled in this riddle, don't watch for like 2 minutes.
Did you read the book? Because it says...
What book?
The Lichdom book. It says the Lich has many seasons.
Oh, wait.
Let's go through your inventory
Here's
here.
my book.
Did you bring it?
Yeah.
Tell me you didn't leave it.
No, I didn't leave it.
It might be this one.
Is this one?
It could be another one.
No, I don't think it's that one. Where's the other one?
Ooh, what's that one?
Tome of Ancient Knowledge. Sometimes it is wise to think backwards. Ha!
Oh,
Okay, so Snowflake was Snowflake number 2? I've forgotten. No, Snowflake was 3. Okay, Snowflake. Go to it, Jade. Jade's my bard.
I
Alex
am
made her
here,
for me.
certainly.
wait, isn't she pre?
Okay, fine. Yeah, but he tweaked her for me.
Okay.
And then Autumn. Good. Phil, you're a genius. And then...
No, no.
Summer.
Okay, no, it's working.
You actually really scared me for a minute. I was like, no, I thought I had it figured out.
Did it work?
Ooh. Oh, I think the door opened. Yeah. Good job. How creepy is this blood pool, though? Like, I'm feeling really nervous about this.
Just take a big glass of blood
having
every day,
anxiety.
as doctors say you should.
Yes?
So this dungeon, part of the layout was originally going to be for a dungeon we didn't build for Baldur's Gate 2. And that's the end of the story. That's it.
Thanks, Phil. Thanks for sharing that with everyone.
I am here.
McKin's getting attacked. I'm trying to make her dance.
Hurry. All right.
You might not know this, but Amber, our irrepressible Beambard, used to write for Dragon Magazine
Good job, McKin.
way back in the day,
It's true, I did. For many years.
which of course makes her the perfect person to write for The Familiar. And you might not know this about me, but 7 years ago, Cameron and I were contracted to make an iOS game for Donald Trump.
I am
Are
So,
you really?
Yep.
Wow.
If you go on
everybody's dying,
GameSpot
Phil.
and look up Trump Tycoon, you can find some screenshots. It was super old. It was for like the iPhone 1, and yeah, it was a weird time. But now I can say that I've got some connection to that guy. Sadly.
I am here, certainly.
Everyone's dying, Phil. I'm really bad at this.
Your concern?
Get better. I don't know what else to tell you.
Do it.
No, she's having issues. She's not gonna. No, it's over.
Yes?
Did you save?
No, I didn't.
Do you have any
save.
saves?
No,
How much time is left on the stream? Oh no, you can stay alive for 14 more minutes.
maybe.
Get out of there.
I'm trying. Drowned in blood.
Try using the Control Y spell.
No, it's okay. I think I got him. I'm down 3 people, but I'm otherwise all right. As long as Jade doesn't die, I'll be fine.
Just keep downing potions.
Yeah. That's the
There's
way to
one
do
thing
it.
that'll keep you alive when the guy's hacking at you with a sword. It's, hold on.
All right, let me
That's
look
what it's
at
like.
let me look at my list of notes here. See what else I was supposed to mention. Bailiff companion. Oh, dreams. Yeah. So we are having dreams in this game, and the dreams are, first of all, to communicate information to the player. We do have a couple of what do you call them? Cutscenes that are not from the player's or the character's perspective, so the player can have more information about the story.
It's like in Baldur's Gate 2 when you would see those short cutscenes with Irenicus speaking with the Drow Matron, or when
Yeah.
he and Imoen were at the Cald Wizard.
Yeah, the
headquarters or
same
whatever.
sort of idea. And the dreams are a way of getting information to the character in a more organic way. And they also serve to like reinforce the theme of the game and maybe give you hints about stuff, or to explain, for example, in Baldur's Gate 1, it explained these like new abilities that your character received. We did do them in the style of Baldur's Gate 2. So when you have a dream, it actually has a little cutscene and sometimes even dialogue options that you can select.
As well, there are video cinematics scattered throughout the game. There's an opening, ending, middle, a bunch of things. So there's a bunch of
I don't
cool
have any more.
videos that
Yes?
we really enjoyed. They're being actually Sam Hulick, the guy who did our soundtracks for the other Enhanced Edition games, and Mass Effect has scored them. He just finished scoring all the cinematics, so they're super cool, and I'm really excited to share them with you guys.
And I think that was all the questions I had.
I guess we could take questions from the audience. I'll start paying attention to the chat.
Yeah, that was all I had. Check out this cool floor mural too. We tried to do a lot of like really neat touches and stuff within, and it was a long process. The artist would draw like the mural on its own, and then we'd overlay it onto the floor. But it often looked like just an overlay of an art
Yeah.
piece on the floor. So then they had to go in and like color in all the like little bits and pieces of this creepy figure in a
So
cowl.
one asked if there's any new booze. Yes, there are.
Yeah.
There's at least one.
Wait, booze like alcohol or booze like
yeah,
small hamsters?
I know there's at least one new kind of alcohol.
There is? I didn't even know that.
And when you go to the Three Old Kegs,
Oh, yeah. That's right.
the person.
Yeah.
By the way, you get to go to the Three Old Kegs.
So this looks like something pretty important just happened.
Unfortunately, we weren't
Possibly...
paying attention.
Oh my gosh, this dwarf, that, spoiler alert, this dwarf that we've been looking for, this poor dead dwarf whose body we had to return, actually orchestrated this whole thing so he could become a lich. Bum, bum, bum.
Well, now you've ruined it. I don't even need to play the game.
This is a side area. That's why
Okay,
we're
that's
demoing
true.
it, because
That's
it won't
true.
affect the critical path.
I was wrong.
Or
you
will
should
it?
play the game.
See, one thing I like is that there's a couple of sort of meta sort of things. I mean, I guess it's not really a spoiler to say there's a big battle at some point in this game. And
Did you know there's a siege?
there may be a siege. We really tried to go in, and when you meet people on your quest that you have like a really long, prolonged interaction with, there's sometimes the opportunity to ask them to come help you in the siege. And sometimes they will, sometimes they won't. And conversely, if there are enemies that you let live, maybe that will come back to haunt you. A Shadow King? Who
I know
could
that guy.
be? Who could that be? Cold Hearth Lich. I should return to the dwarves. All right, I'll return to the dwarves. I'll save the final lich battle for you to explore on your own. Viewers
Yeah,
at
he's
home.
a real pain in the butt to defeat, by the way.
Well, he's a lich. Liches are very, very powerful. I mean, he's got like pools full of blood in
Well,
his...
he didn't have them. He just showed up and sort of took over the facility.
It was just
you
an
know.
existing like natural
Yeah,
blood pool.
it's like when the
that
realtor's
he
showing
tapped
you,
into.
offices and stuff. He's like, well, we got like a lunchroom. There's the pool of blood in the front. Over here, we've got a nice statue of a Thrykeen ripping a dwarf apart.
Thrykeen.
You got to sell it.
You really like Dark Sun too, don't
Oh
you?
yeah. So if I can't make a Spelljammer game, I'm gonna make a Dark Sun game.
Mad Max Baldur's Gate.
That's pretty much what it is.
Baldur's Gate Fury Road.
Yeah.
That would be my dream game.
I mean, I'd like to do Spelljammer's Fury Road, but whatever.
So now I'm back up in the dwarf area, and that's because the handy journal pop-up came and told me that I should return to the dwarves and tell them what I learned. Let's see what they have to say. And here are the dwarves.
Hey guys, how's it going? Oh wait, go north before you do that. Yeah, go up there.
Okay, I'm going. Look at that little bat. Oh, those little bats. Little rat running around. Oh, zombies. You led me into zombies. Phil, why do I ever trust you?
Uh oh.
And a big giant dude. That looks like a nice Windale mini as well.
It's good.
Oh, hey, the dwarves mentioned this guy. They said he was a friend of theirs. Thank you, little girl. Aw. Yeah. All right, that was a good deed. I don't mind coming up here now. I was going to pick this lock, but then I remembered Savannah was dead.
Poor Samal.
Oh, it wasn't locked. Yay. But it just had regular stuff in it. One of my favorite things about Baldur's Gate is like barrels with random stuff in them.
Somebody asked, can you play the lore version? So your party has Imoen, Jira, Khalid, Minsky down here. Yes, you can do that, sort of. You'll understand more as you play the game, but that
bit of a
party
spoiler.
composition it's doable. You can make that happen.
Really?
Well, with the exception of one person.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
If you have been working on SOD for 4 years, have you started on BG Next or BG3? So when I said 4 years, the original idea for Siege, we had started talking about it back when we were doing Baldur's Gate Enhanced Edition. So we're like, yeah, we should do an expansion that bridges the two games. And originally, it was going to be like a little 2-hour thing that used primarily existing Baldur's Gate 1 locations. And then we put it on the back burner as we did the Enhanced Edition content for BGEE, and then BG2, and then Icewind, and et cetera, et cetera. And then when we finally came back to it, which was like a year and a half later, then we started really expanding it out. So we've been thinking about it for 4 years, but production was really only seriously underway for 2 years on it. Regarding the BG Next or BG3 thing, we don't make any comments regarding future titles that we may or may not be working on.
Yeah, we did that once. It was a bad idea because then we wound up not making it, and then we were sad. And still, sometimes it pops up. I saw an article about like, oh, they're working on this Project Z, and I'm like, that was canceled like 3 years ago. I don't know why people are still reporting on this.
I mean, don't get us wrong. That's a dream come true for us. Who wouldn't want
yeah.
to make that game? That would be super fun.
That would be. I just paused it here for a sec because I wanted to point out the great line, "Ah, ye lie, ye lion liar, ye."
Someone asked
Turning
about
Dog is
Icewind Dale
fun.
2 Enhanced Edition and Planescape Torment Enhanced Edition. Again, we don't really discuss any future projects that we may or may not be doing.
Anytime, once a project gets to the point where, usually once we're going into testing, then usually we'll make some kind of announcement.
We don't want to announce things super early out. I mean, we announced Dragonspear last summer, and maybe that was a little too soon because it does suck to have to wait a long time for a game to come out, and we don't want to, tease people or anything.
Mm-hmm.
So we've made the decision that if we do anything, we're going to wait until we're fairly far along before we announce anything. And again, that's not a confirmation that we're doing any of this stuff. That's just our projects in general.
Yeah, our policy.
Our policy. There you go.
I got some kind of weapon thing. What did I get? Oh, that's it. Ooh.
The secret revealed.
weakens liches, leaving them more susceptible to attack.
So you're going to attack him?
Maybe.
Why don't you side with him?
Yes?
I could.
You could. You could actually side with the Lich.
We try to make a lot of options for people. If you want to play as a totally evil jerk, you can. And actually, when we did the revised ending, because last stream we mentioned that we'd gotten some feedback over the winter, the ending was kind of unsatisfying. It was a little too straight of a lead into Baldur's Gate 2. And so we revised it. And part of that revision is you get a chance to discuss the choices you made during the game, because something people really enjoy is feeling like the choices you made as a player are going to affect the outcome of the game. And so while the outcomes may be subtle, you actually get a chance to go back and say, yeah, I did this, I did that, that was my choice.
And then that can change your ultimate fate overall. Can I romance the Lich? I mean, you can try.
We're not stopping you. That's what fan fiction is for.
Yeah. So when Siege of Dragonspear comes out, I mean, I think there's going to be a big explosion in the number of mods and stuff for the Infinity Engine. There's already a very healthy mod community for the Infinity Engine games, but I think that with the features that are included in Dragonspear, they're going to be able to take their stuff to the next level. They're going to be able to do all sorts of crazy things that they couldn't do in the past, or could do, but just very difficult.
I am here.
Like not in an easy way. I keep saying it over and over again, but I'm very excited for modders to come in and build their own user interfaces. If you want to completely rebuild the user interface for Baldur's Gate to be, something crazy, there are tools now that make that much, much, much easier. Some of the windowing system, it's great. It's like a scripting language. You can say, oh, I want this PNG to be the background for this window, and it's awesome. I mean, I'm able to go in and make changes, and I'm a terrible, terrible scripter. So I think that people are really going to enjoy it.
I think we're starting to get close to the end of the hour. Do you maybe want to show off
Are we going to go over the final prize?
For those of you just joining in, we are doing Siege of Dragonspear demo. This is an area called the Dig, and I'm a bard, and look at me switch between a two-handed weapon and a weapon and an offhand item.
Wait. Is this upside down?
Do you need a hand fill?
Maybe.
So we're going to give away our final prize. It's not a t-shirt. It's very cool. This is a poster of our new goblin NPC, McKinn, and she's summoning her spirit bear companion. They're fighting some kind of plant tentacle monster, and we will get this out to a lucky winner that we will select randomly from the chat room. And I'm going to fight some zombies while that happens. With half a party, because apparently this place was really dangerous and I couldn't keep my companions alive. Well, we got paralyzed a lot. That was the problem, I think.
All right, so we're going to do the prize. Who is the lucky winner?
It is done.
During these battles, you might also notice... why am I always triggering thoughts? Oh, yeah, because the fan is dead. You might notice these little health bars popping up over my PC's heads, and also the enemies' heads. Those are a new UI feature that is also completely toggleable, so if you hate them, you don't have to use them. All right, now I'm confused. Oh, Umber Hulks. Really? No, Minsk
right.
is confused.
The
so I'm
winner
gonna
of the
use this new
poster is
spell.
coming up in a moment here.
Where is it? It was... Oh, I already used all my... No, wait, there it is. Spiritual Clarity.
The winner of the McKinn poster for Baldur's Gate Siege of Dragonspear is Ancient Winters. Congratulations, Ancient Winters.
You will love this poster. It's beautiful. Taya did that, right?
Yes.
Artist Taya did that, and it's actually, honestly, one of my favorite pieces from the our new art.
Yeah, when you actually get it and you can see all the little tiny details, it's really, really awesome. Like the spirit bear has air coming out of its mouth. It's swiping through the tentacle, and you can see the individual claw swipes. It's really, really badass.
I must have
So congratulations, Ancient Winters.
Good job. Whoa,
Your
oh
home
no!
will be less dull.
Come on.
Well, you blew it.
I didn't notice I was losing all that health, and then all of a sudden I was dead.
All right, well, we hate to be horrible teases here, but we're going to draw this stream to a close. That was Baldur's Gate Siege of Dragonspear. That's just a small part of the game. That was an optional challenge dungeon along the critical path. And we are going to be announcing a release date very, very soon, so keep an eye out on it. And
Keep an eye on the Beamblog. So that's
Yeah.
blog.beamdog.com. We've also got the new Familiar magazine out, so that's the familiar.beamdog.com. You can read it online. You can also get it for free, iOS and Android, in their various app stores. And we are on Twitter, which
We're
is
on
at
Twitter.
Beamdog Inc.
what else?
And we are also on Facebook.
There's a lot of ways to get at us, so,
Yeah.
hit us up.
You know what we're on that not a lot of people know? Pinterest.
There you
Trent
go.
came to me one day. Maybe I shouldn't tell the story. Trent came to me one day and he's like, "We need that thing with pictures." And I was like, Instagram? And he goes, "No, it's like you send. It's like a picture and then you get it right away." And I was like, "Snapchat?" He goes, "No, it's sort of like if you see a picture, then you like it and you can keep it." And I was like, "Pinterest?" And he goes, "Yes, Pinterest." And I was
Hello,
like, "Okay,
fellow kids.
if we want my mom to follow us, then sure, I'll make a Pinterest account." But you know what? It's super popular. And we have like a really, really like beautiful looking Pinterest board. We've got one for Baldur's Gate, one for Icewind Dale, one for Baldur's Gate 2. So you can check that out if you want to follow us some more.
And we occasionally post interesting tidbits of information on the Baldur's Gate forums, so
Oh,
keep
yeah,
an eye
check
out
out the
there.
forums,
There's
definitely.
a great community over there, a lot of modders, a lot of players. A lot of the development team is on there, so come check it out. We talk about Baldur's Gate, Icewind Dale, Baldur's Gate 2, etc., etc. So that was the stream for today. Thank you again for watching.
Thanks for joining us. We'll probably be doing one more of these
Oh, at least, yeah.
in a couple of weeks. So keep an eye on the blog and we'll post up a schedule when we have one.
Yep, and we will have more prizes, and we will have more information to reveal about the game. Thank you for watching.
Thanks for watching. Bye.